are you acting so nervous? And why are you sweating so much? And why do you look so hungry? And...
No, wait, it's not what you think. This is a big misunderstanding. You've got to believe me. Listen, I am telling you, you better listen to me, SpongeBob.
You like Krabby Patties, don't you, Squidward?
Wrote her on IG, and she, in fact, ignored your message initially, correct?
Correct.
And that made you angry?
Correct.
23-year-old Kayla Hodgson probably thought the worst thing that could come from texting her new boyfriend's girlfriend was a few nasty DMs or a dramatic subtweet, not a 5 a.m. pop-up visit from hell. But on July 13, 2022, in Tamarac, Florida, that's exactly what went down. At her doorstep stood 28-year-old Sakiyna Thompson, ready to have a woman-to-woman conversation. Except this wasn't no conversation. Within minutes, Kayla found herself fighting for her life against a woman who took being blocked as a personal invitation to pull up and prove why some relationships should have ended in the talking stage. Welcome to the American Crime Femicide channel. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for future uploads. Kayla lit up rooms the way sunrise sneaks across an airplane, all quietly, completely, and before you notice, everyone feels a little safer. She had that rare mix of warmth and wattage. The friend who hyped you from the sidelines, the coworker who made chaos feel organized, the stranger who could talk a panic flyer down with a smile and a napkin joke. By day, she wore the soft armor of a flight attendant. Tidy bun, calm voice, steady hands pouring comfort into tiny cups. By night, she switched to the glitter and glass choreography of private events, moving through velvet ropes with the easy sociability of someone who remembered names, drink orders, and birthdays. Florida night suited her. Humid air, neon edges, the sense that 1,000 stories were always starting. Her own plans were clear and practical. Save every spare dollar, study the business, open a cocktail lounge with her name on the door. The vision wasn't fantasy. It was a spreadsheet. 2 years, maybe less. Meanwhile, a handsome man started appearing in her bottle section, the kind of regular who made sure staff knew he was generous because he broadcasted with stacks of money. He flirted. It felt harmless at first. A conversation here, a message there, compliments that didn't trip the alarms. Then he leaned all the way in. Day texts, late night calls, visits scheduled whenever business took him to South Florida. Kayla gave him a chance. Cute, sweet, attentive. He checked most of her boxes until she found out he had a crazy girlfriend in New York with a temper.
You know that I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right?
Sakiyna was a talented nail tech from New York, known for her flashy designs and her equally flashy temper. Her Instagram was part portfolio, part personal diary, full of long captions about loyalty and betrayal, especially loyalty to Terry, the man she believed was her entire identity. Her post said ride or die, but she forgot that die isn't supposed to be literal. Friends had seen the warning signs, the arguments, the obsession, the constant checking of his location. But jealousy is one of those conditions people mistake for devotion, right up until someone doesn't make it home.
I'ma go buy me a gun, and I'ma come back here and set this motherfucker off.
When Sakiyna noticed Terry acting distant, she didn't pray, journal, or break up. She ordered a GPS tracker. It arrived by overnight mail, because when you're crazy, next day shipping feels like self-care. She attached it to Terry's Range Rover while he slept, then spent her nights watching the little blue dot on her phone like it was a reality show. For a while, it behaved. Work, gym, home. Then one night, it parked for hours at a Florida apartment complex in Tamarac, and the address belonged to none other than Kayla. At that point, logic should have said, move on. But Sakiyna didn't listen to logic. She listened to voices that told her she owned this man. Within hours, she booked a round-trip flight to Fort Lauderdale, packed her anger, and headed south. There was no plan to talk things out or walk away. The plan was confrontation, the kind that ends in blood, not closure. On July 13, 2022, around 5 a.m., Kayla's quiet street in Tamarac became the stage for one of the most senseless crimes imaginable. Sakiyna either followed another resident inside the secured complex or pretended to be visiting someone. However she got in, she made it to Kayla's front door with a knife and a delusion. Kayla probably thought it was Terry. She opened the door, and before she could react, she was attacked by a woman she barely knew. Witnesses later described screams that didn't last long. The fight wasn't fair. The wounds were deep, precise, and filled with hatred. When it was over, Kayla was gone, her throat slashed, her dreams cut short by someone who thought murder was a form of communication.
She was bright, she was beautiful, she was everybody's hype man.
It's been slightly more than a week since Kayla Hodgson was murdered.
Her life was gone way too soon.
Today, Local 10 talks to a friend of the family. Her loved ones remain too heartbroken to speak.
We love her, we miss her, we know we are praying for justice.
Let's take you back to earlier this month, July 13th. That's when family and friends tell us 23-year-old Kayla was found dead in her Tamarac apartment. Up to this point, the Broward Sheriff's Office has only revealed few details about what happened. Someone, they say, found Kayla unresponsive that afternoon. The bartender was pronounced dead on the scene.
The caller said that there's a gash on the patient's neck. It looks like someone slashed her neck.
Radio calls paint a grim picture of how she was found.
The unknown is driving us crazy. We don't know who did this. We don't know why you would do this.
For days, police worked the case around the clock. Kayla's family was blindsided. She had no enemies, no drama. Then detectives went through her phone. They saw the text messages, the calls, the flirty exchanges with Terry. They traced his number, followed his connections, and popped a name that soon defined the investigation: Sakiyna Thompson. Phone records showed Sakiyna messaging Kayla aggressively the night before the murder. Hotel receipts and flight logs showed her arriving in Florida just before Kayla's death and leaving immediately after. Her phone still had the GPS tracker app installed, with Kayla's address saved in the notes. She hadn't covered her tracks. She documented them. Police moved fast. On August 3, 2022, officers arrested Sakiyna in New York. When confronted, she tried to play dumb, claiming she just wanted to talk. But people who want to talk don't pack knives. She was charged with first-degree murder. Prosecutors called it premeditated, deliberate, and cold. The judge denied bail, pointing out the obvious. She had literally flown across state lines to kill someone. While awaiting trial, Thompson made a new discovery. She was 8 weeks pregnant with Terry's child. Suddenly, the same woman who showed zero mercy wanted sympathy. She wrote a letter to the judge begging for leniency, asking to be released to give birth outside of jail. She called herself a first-time mother who deserved compassion. The irony wrote itself. A woman who had robbed another woman of her entire future now wanted special treatment because she was about to have one. The court didn't buy it. Bond denied. Pregnancy wasn't a pardon. She gave birth behind bars, and her son was sent to Terry's parents. A child born out of chaos, handed to the only people left standing in a story built on destruction. Almost 3 years later, in October 2025, the case finally went to trial. Kayla's family sat through every detail: the tracker purchase, the flight, the knife, the lies. Prosecutors painted Sakiyna as a woman consumed by jealousy, using technology to stalk her way into a murder. They showed the evidence step by step: the app logs, her travel records, her internet searches. Everything pointed to a plan.
This is the gruesome scene Broward Sheriff's deputies discovered in July of 2022. 23-year-old Kayla Hodgson stabbed dozens of times, lying in her own blood in her Tamarac apartment home. Revelto Robinson found her first that day and called 911.
Did 911 instruct you to attempt life-saving measures?
Yes.
31-year-old Sakiyna Thompson is accused of flying from New York to Tamarac that July, showing up at Kayla's home at 5 o'clock in the morning and stabbing her to death.
Everything went according to plan, except being discovered.
Prosecutors say Thompson was jealous. Kayla was dating Thompson's ex-boyfriend. After the murder, Thompson allegedly tried to clean up the scene, changed into Kayla's clothes, and flew back to New York.
Took some of Kayla's personal items, dragged Kayla out of the way in her own blood, away from the door, and left, disguised in Kayla's attire.
In opening statements, the defense agreed Thompson killed Kayla, but that it was in self-defense. They say Thompson was pregnant at the time and that Kayla struck her first.
This woman-to-woman conversation that Sakiyna had in mind had escalated and it turned into something more than what she planned when she went to go talk to Kayla woman-to-woman. She was afraid to call the police. Why would they believe her? She panicked.
When it was her turn to testify, Sakiyna cried, claiming Kayla attacked her first and that she only defended herself. It was the same tired script. The killer suddenly the victim, rewriting history mid-trial. But the jury didn't need a psychology degree to see the truth. The evidence didn't care about her tears.
Over 2 hours of testifying in her own defense, Sakiyna Thompson told jurors she was jealous of the relationship her boyfriend had with the victim, Kayla Hodgson.
A little, I guess you could say, jealous and insecure.
Thompson admitted to flying from New York to Tamarac in July of 2022, in part to confront Hodgson about the relationship, hoping to convince the other woman to stop. This video shows Thompson showing up unexpectedly at Hodgson's Tamarac apartment at 4 o'clock in the morning. When Hodgson let her in, Thompson says a conversation about their love triangle quickly turned sour. Thompson says Hodgson hit her over the head with a hookah.
She just starts grabbing my hair and punching me. And I'm on the floor. I'm kicking. I'm trying to get up to fight back at this point because now it's a fight.
Thompson was 2 months pregnant at the time. She told the jury she had no choice but to grab something sharp and defend herself.
I told her I was pregnant, so I felt like she was trying to hurt me and my baby. I didn't just fight for me, I fought for me and my baby.
Thompson testified that when she thought Hodgson was dead, she tried to clean up parts of the crime scene with Lysol wipes and paper towels. She admitted to changing into Hodgson's clothes. This video shows her leaving the victim's apartment in those clothes.
I had to change at that point because I'm like, I can't leave out of here looking like this.
Why did you feel like you had to change?
Because there was blood everywhere.
Thompson's attorney asked her why she didn't call 911.
Why didn't you call the police?
I was scared. Just scared.
Okay, what were you scared of?
I was pregnant and I just killed somebody.
On October 15, 2025, the verdict came down. Guilty of first-degree murder. The judge sentenced her to life without parole. Her fake tears dried fast. That was the end of her performance. The influencer turned inmate. The ride or die, who finally ran out of audience.
State of Florida versus Sakiyna Thompson.
A burden lifted.
We, the jury, find as follows as the defendant in this case. The defendant is guilty of murder in the first degree.
Guilty is what this family has waited to hear for more than 3 years.
We finally have some justice for Kayla.
A jury found Sakiyna Thompson guilty of killing 23-year-old Kayla Hodgson in 2022. Prosecutors argued Thompson surprised Hodgson at her Tamarac apartment, confronted her about the two of them dating the same man, and then stabbed her to death. Hodgson's family cried tears of joy in the courtroom Tuesday. They hugged each other tight because a guilty verdict is what they prayed for.
We're so thankful in this moment that the jury was able to see the story for what it is, that Kayla did not deserve to die the way that she did.
Defense attorneys insist Thompson didn't start the fight. They say Hodgson hit Thompson first and cut her stomach with a piece of glass. When Thompson took the stand earlier in the week, she admitted she killed Hodgson because her life was in danger and she was pregnant.
She thought, oh God, she's coming for me and my baby. That's when she grabs the glass and then she blacks out.
After the murder, Thompson admitted she changed into the victim's clothes, cleaned up some of the scene, and that she was too scared to call police. She also threw evidence in the trash. A life taken too soon. Years later, the family says they got justice.
And the moment I heard guilty, it was what we all needed for closure in this moment to move forward, to start our healing process. It's been a long 3.5 years.
The tragedy hit everyone who knew Kayla, her family, her coworkers, her friends from the club, all left wondering how someone so full of life ended up at the center of a stranger's breakdown. The kind of woman who healed nerves at 30,000 feet was taken by someone who couldn't control her own on the ground. In the end, Sakiyna's downfall wasn't love, it was ego. She wanted to prove something, and all she proved was that jealousy is the cheapest emotion on earth. She gave up her freedom, her child, and her future over a man who couldn't keep one lie straight. Kayla's family finally got justice, but it came years too late. A dreamer, a traveler, a woman who wanted to build something for herself, taken by someone who couldn't stand to see her exist. May Kayla Hodgson rest in peace. She deserved a cocktail lounge, not a headline.